all the time these things of 20 things you didn't know from a movie this or movie that. So we're gonna react to them, watching them.
Independence Day took over the summer of 1996 and became a worldwide hit. However, oblivious to many are the strange events behind the scene. Nothing about this movie was simple, from real military talks to last-minute script changes. It was wild, risky, and at times just plain weird. Stick around as we dive into 20 facts about Independence Day that will surprise you.
Okay.
1. UFO in California. While filming, the Independence Day crew decided to test out a special helicopter. It was covered in glowing lights and meant to be the welcome wagon in the movie, the one sent to greet the aliens. At the time, it seemed like a simple test. They just wanted to see how it looked in the sky. Then the phone calls started. More than 150 people in California looked up, saw those lights, and thought aliens were visiting. Some were
Really?
scared, others were just curious.
Welcome wagon, Echo 1, approaching alien ship.
Many called
That's
the
kinda
police
loud.
to report a UFO because it was believable. The police had no idea what was going on, so they showed up. Once they found out it was just a movie test, they relaxed. A few even laughed. The film crew got a warning to give people a heads up next time. It might sound funny now, but that night showed how real Independence Day could feel, even before the cameras rolled. One glowing helicopter in the sky had people believing something was coming from above. 2. The script that made the military angry. When the team behind Independence Day first started planning, they got a big offer. The United States military said it would help. They promised to supply real costumes, vehicles, and other items to make everything look true to life. It
Interesting.
seemed like the perfect deal. Then came a problem. The script mentioned Area 51. The military did not like that. They told
course
the
not.
director, Roland Emmerich, and the writer, Dean Devlin, to remove every part of the film about Area 51. That meant no secret base and no alien research. Clearly, they didn't like the speculations the script made about Area 51.
Yeah, why?
Roland and Dean refused. They felt that
Good.
Area 51 was an essential part of the story. It was where all the mystery lived, and removing it would change the whole feel of the film. Once they refused, the military pulled out completely. They didn't give them the costume and props that were promised. Even without their support, the filmmakers moved forward. They made their uniforms, built their own sets, and made the story just how they wanted it.
Good.
In the end, Area 51 stayed in the movie and became one of the most exciting parts of the preparation. Sometimes,
I bet.
sticking to your vision means losing some help. In this case, it was the right choice. 3. Improvised script. One of the best things about Independence Day was the back and forth between Jeff Goldblum and Will Smith. Their scenes were full of energy, funny lines, and fast talking. What many people do not know is that many of those lines were never in the script at all. You see,
Really?
Jeff Goldblum made up many of his lines while filming. The director and producers later said that over half of his words were improvised. That means he did not follow the script. He just said what felt right in the moment. This was especially true in the scenes where he and Will Smith were flying the stolen alien ship into the enormous mothership.
And what the hell is that smell?
Goldblum also worked closely with Judd Hirsch, who played his father.
He's a good actor.
The two actors had such a natural connection that their conversations felt real. Most of their scenes were filled with jokes, little arguments, and moments from their ideas, not the writers. The reason it worked so well is simple. Jeff Goldblum was just being himself. His fast-talking, smart but nervous style gave the movie its humor. Without those made-up lines, some of the best moments in Independence Day might never have happened. 4. The President. One of the strongest characters in Independence Day is the President of the United States. He gives a big speech near the end that people still remember today. Bill Pullman played the part so well that many fans could not imagine anyone else in that role. But at first, he was not even part of the plan.
Really?
President Whitmore was first written for Kevin Spacey. The director, Roland Emmerich, really wanted him. He had seen Kevin's earlier work and felt he was perfect for the role. He thought Kevin could play a bright and calm leader under pressure. The problem was, the studio did not agree. The people in charge of casting did not think Kevin Spacey had enough star power at the time. They did not know if the audience would like him as a strong leader. They did not think he was famous enough to hold such a significant role.
Interesting.
So the team picked Bill Pullman instead. He played the role well, especially when he gave that famous speech about fighting for freedom. It gave people goosebumps. Even though he was not the first choice, he became the right one. And it worked out in the end. 5. The Ban. Independence Day was a worldwide hit. People from all over the globe packed into cinemas to watch Earth fight back against aliens. The movie was loved by people of different nations, but not every country welcomed it with open arms.
I wonder which
In
one I
Lebanon,
forget.
the film faced serious trouble. The problem had nothing to do with the aliens or the action scenes. It was because of one small moment that showed an Israeli pilot joining the international fight against the alien threat. That short scene caused a lot of anger. At the time, Lebanon had strong rules about how Israel could be shown in films available in Lebanon, which were stringent.
Interesting.
Some leaders in Lebanon said the movie should not be shown at all. They believed it was trying to make Israel look good or friendly, which they did not support at that time. There were talks of banning the movie altogether, while others said they should edit or cut the scene out before the film could be shown. In the end, the movie had a limited release in some places, and most people in Lebanon never got to see it on the big screen. All because of one brief scene. This shows us that even a small part of a movie can lead to big problems, especially when politics are involved. 6. The movie almost had a different name. When people think of Independence Day, they probably assume the name feels perfect because it fits the story and the movie's aesthetic. What many people do not know is that the film was almost given a different title. It was nearly called Doomsday. At first, the name Independence Day sounded like a great idea to the filmmakers. It matched the movie's big moment, which happens on the 4th of July. It also gave the film a strong, patriotic feel. But there was one problem. The name was not fully cleared for use. Another studio had a similar name locked in, and they were not ready to give it up. This led to a lot of worry. The team behind Independence Day had to create a backup name just in case. The name they considered was Doomsday. It still sounded exciting, but it did not carry the same hopeful meaning. It focused more on the end of the world part and not on fighting back. In the end, the director pushed hard to keep the original title. He even added the president's big speech to make the name fit better, which helped seal the deal. 7. The speech that was inspired by Shakespeare. The president's speech is one of the most potent scenes on Independence Day. It happens right before the big final battle. The president stands before the pilots and gives a speech to motivate the people. He talks about freedom, fighting back, and how this day will no longer be just an American holiday, but will be remembered as the day they fought back. For many people, it is their favorite part of the movie. What they do not know is that the speech was inspired by something ancient. The speech was based on a famous moment from William Shakespeare's play Henry V. In it, a young king speaks to his small army before going into a hopeless battle. He reminds them that they fight not for land or power, but honor and brotherhood. It is called the St. Crispin's Day speech. The writers of Independence Day wanted the same feeling. They wanted something that gave hope during fear. So they used Shakespeare's tone and style to shape the president's words. They took a scene written hundreds of years ago and used the same style in a sci-fi movie. The result was a speech that made people emotional. It made the movie deep and powerful. A classic play helped shape a classic movie moment. 8. The borrowed sets. Making a movie as big as Independence Day takes a lot of money, time, and energy. The movie involves fighter jets, alien ships, labs, offices, and military bases. At first, it looks like everything was built from scratch. But the truth is that many of those sets were borrowed from other movies and television shows. Instead of building everything new, the filmmakers used clever tricks. They took old sets from past films, repainted them, moved things around, and gave them a fresh look. Some of the military hallways had already been used in action shows. A few office rooms came from detective dramas. Even parts of Area 51 were built using walls and floors from other science fiction projects. This idea saved money and helped the team stay on schedule. They could film faster without waiting for new sets to be finished. It also let them focus more on special effects and alien designs, the show's real highlight. Most viewers never noticed the reuse, which showed that the plan worked perfectly. It shows that good movie magic is not always about spending more. Sometimes it is about using utilizing what you already. 9. The competition.
That's kind of boring.
Independence Day looked interesting, bold, and carefully made. What many fans do not know is that a lot of it was done in a hurry. The reason? The filmmakers wanted to beat another alien movie to theaters. That movie was Mars Attacks, a science fiction comedy directed by Tim Burton. Both films were about aliens attacking Earth and had star-studded casts, but Independence Day took a serious tone. While Mars Attacks, it was silly and playful. The studios behind each film knew that only one alien invasion movie could win the summer box office. To get ahead, the Independence Day team moved fast. They finished the script quickly, filmed scenes back-to-back, and worked long days to speed up the process. The special effects team worked around the clock. They had to finish shots in weeks that usually took months. In the end, the plan worked. Independence Day came out first and became a massive hit, earning huge numbers and becoming one of the decade's biggest movies. Mars Attacks came out later the same year, but it never reached the same level of success. The competition is one of the reasons why the movie is iconic to this day. The cast and crew tried their best to outdo the other film, and they did. 10. The trailer that looked too real.
No, sir. Just a little anxious to get up there and whoop E.T.'s ass, that's all.
Independence Day was known for its graphic depiction of an alien takeover. Even before the movie came out, its ads were already making noise. One of the film's TV commercials caused a real scare, not in America, but in Spain. The problem started with a teaser ad that aired on Spanish television. It showed some scenes of alien ships, screaming people, and cities being destroyed. What made it different was that the ad looked like a real news broadcast. It had news graphics, breaking alerts, and serious music. And the TV station did not say it was a movie trailer right away. Some people watching at home thought they were seeing real news. They believed aliens were attacking Earth for real.
Goodness.
Phones started ringing at local police stations. People called the news centers to ask what was going on. A few even rushed outside just to be sure the sky was clear. After the panic, the TV stations had to explain it was just an ad. They never meant to trick anyone. It was a strong ad that worked too well. The strange event proved one thing. The movie's message about fear and surprise was already working before the film started. 11. The 4th of July scene. One of the most remembered moments on Independence Day is the president's speech in which he stands in front of the pilots, talks about freedom, and says that the 4th of July will no longer be just an American holiday. The strange part is not just what he said, it is when they filmed it. The speech scene was shot on a very special day by complete accident. It was filmed on July 4th, the same day the speech talks about. Nobody planned it that way at first. The shooting schedule changed many times. Scenes were moved around and new ones were added. Ultimately, the scene was shot on the same day as the movie. When the cast and crew realized this, many of them got goosebumps. It felt like the movie was meant to be. They were making a film about fighting for freedom, and they were doing it on a day when people around the country celebrated Independence Day. It was one of those rare movie moments where real life and fiction lined up perfectly. The words, the flag, and the meaning all felt even stronger. Sometimes things just fall into place without anyone planning them. 12. The White House explosion, real or fake? One of the most famous scenes in Independence Day was when the White House exploded. The alien ship fired its beam and the whole building burst into fire and was destroyed. People remember that moment more than anything else from the movie. What might surprise you is that it was not made with computers. The team used a real model. It was a small but detailed copy of the White House built by hand. It was about 5 feet wide and had every window, door, and wall. The effects crew placed it on a stage, added tiny lights, smoke, and carefully hidden wires. Then they filmed it in slow motion while setting off real fireballs. The shot only lasted a few seconds, but it took weeks to plan. The explosion was timed perfectly with cameras running at high speed, so they could catch every detail. Back in the mid-90s, computer effects were still growing. The crew felt that real fire looked better than digital fire, so they went old school, and it worked. That one explosion became the face of the entire movie. It was shown in posters, TV ads, and trailers. Even today, people think it looks more real than many newer films, all thanks to one clever model and a well-timed blast. 13. Will Smith was not the first choice. Today, it is hard to picture Independence Day without Will Smith. He played Captain Stephen Hiller with charm, humor, and bravery. His one-liners and punches became part of pop culture. What most people do not know is that the studio did not want him at first. They had someone else in mind. The studio was worried about casting a young black actor in the lead role. Back in the 90s, they were unsure if international audiences would support it. The director Roland Emmerich and producer Dean Devlin disagreed. They both believed that Will Smith was the perfect fit for
Who
the
were
role.
they thinking about?
He was talented, energetic, and popular from his show The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, which was an all-time fan favorite.
Hold on, sir. I've got something on radar.
The team told the studio that without Will, they might walk away from the project. It took time and a lot of convincing, but in the end, the studio agreed, and Will got the part. The decision paid off well, and Will Smith became more popular because of his excellent performance in the movie. His role helped skyrocket his movie career and led to more hits and legendary movies like Men in Black. The movie also changed the way Hollywood saw action stars. From that point on, Will Smith was not just a TV actor, he was a worldwide movie star. 14. The huge motherboard. The alien mothership in Independence Day was massive. It floated above Earth, blocked the sky, and controlled all the smaller ships. In the movie, it was over 500 kilometers wide, more than 300 miles across. It was one of the biggest things ever shown on screen at the time. What most fans do not know is that its size caused real problems behind the scenes. The special effects team used computers to build the mothership for space shots, but the file kept crashing. The design was too large for their computers to process in one go. This was back in the mid-90s, when computer power was not as strong as today. The crew had to break the mothership into smaller pieces to animate it. Even the way the ship appeared on screen had to be carefully planned. The ship entrance was filmed slowly to show the audience how big the boat was. The mothership entrance became one of the most talked about scenes in the film. It showed how significant the threat was and raised the stakes. Behind the camera, it showed just how far the team had to go to bring something huge to life. 15. Movie trick or reel. Before digital effects took over Hollywood, filmmakers often used small models to create big scenes. Independence Day became famous for its explosions, ships crashing, and fireballs in the sky. What many people do not know is that the team used more model work than almost any other film at the time. The movie used over 150 miniature sets, including buildings, streets, and landmarks like the Empire State Building and the White House. Each model was carefully built by hand with a great deal of detail. Some were as small as a shoebox, and others were large enough to walk around. Instead of using only computers, the crew filmed the models blowing up in real time. They used fire, smoke, and high-speed cameras to make everything feel big and real. These model explosions were filmed frame by frame, then added into the movie. The result was so impressive that the movie won the Oscar for Best Visual Effects. Even today, many of the explosions hold up better than newer digital ones. It was one of the last big movies to use models on such a large scale. After that, most filmmakers switched entirely to computer graphics. Independence Day gave models one final moment to shine, and it went out with a bang. 16. Brent Spiner was almost unrecognizable.
Mr. Preston. Wow.
One of the most surprising actors in Independence Day is Dr. Brakish Okun, the wild-haired scientist who works deep inside Area 51. What many people do not realize is that the actor playing him was already famous for a very different role. The man behind the scientist costume was none other than Brent Spiner. You might know him for playing the robot Data on the hit show Star Trek: The Next Generation. In that show, he played a character who was serious and emotionless, but in Independence Day, his character was loud, messy, and full of life.
I did not know
He was
that
always
at
shown
all.
wearing long gray hair, round glasses, and a lab coat. The change was so significant that many people did not even recognize him. Brent Spiner loved the role because it allowed him to try something different. He had been playing a serious character for years and wanted to show his silly side. The crew let him go all in with the look and the voice. His strange performance became one of the movie's most talked about parts. Fans still quote his lines and remember his big wide eyes. It just shows you how versatile a good actor can be. 17. The alien suit. The aliens in Independence Day were not fully computer generated. Many of the close-up scenes were of actors wearing alien suits. These suits were designed to look creepy and lifelike. They had long limbs, slimy skin, and large heads. They were carefully designed and created to match the movie's vision of an advanced alien race, but what most people do not know is how hard it was for the actors inside them. The alien suits were thick, heavy, and had almost no air inside. Once zipped in, actors had trouble seeing, hearing, and even standing, and the heat inside the suits built up fast, making it unbearable, especially under the studio lights. Some actors fainted during filming. Others had to stop every few minutes to cool down or drink water. The crew did their best to help and reduce the inconveniences. They added fans, cooling tubes, and long breaks between takes. Even with those changes, the suits were still uncomfortable. Some scenes had to be shortened because the actors could not stay in costume for long. These effects helped make the aliens look more real on camera, but they caused stress and exhaustion behind the scenes. The final result was worth it, but the actors who wore the alien suits went through a lot to bring those monsters to life. 18. Where the ending inspiration came from. At the end of Independence Day, the aliens seem unstoppable. Their ships are huge, their weapons are strong, and nothing on Earth can break through their shields. But the humans came up with a plan, a computer virus. David, played by Jeff Goldblum, uploads the virus into the alien mothership, and that single act brings their whole system down. What many fans do not know is that this idea was inspired by a much older story. In the classic science fiction book, The War of the Worlds, written by H.G. Wells, Earth was also attacked by powerful aliens. Humans cannot stop them with guns or bombs. In the end, the aliens die from something very small, germs. They get sick and die since they are not used to Earth's bacteria. That natural virus saves humanity. Independence Day borrowed that same idea, but changed it for modern times. Instead of a germ, they used a computer virus. The aliens in the film were not protected against human code. That one detail turned the tide and gave the humans a chance to fight back. It was a tribute to one of the first alien invasion stories ever told, a reminder that sometimes the most minor things can defeat the most significant threats. 19. The speech that was almost removed.
Over the world, Tom, we got them beat. How about our two delivery boys?
The most potent moment in Independence Day is the speech given by President Whitmore before the final battle. He stands before the pilots and says, "We will not go quietly into the night." That speech became one of the most quoted movie scenes of all time. Believe it or not, the studio did not like it. There were mixed suggestions on what to do with it. Some wanted it to be a minor scene, while others tried to cut it out. When the filmmakers first showed the scene to executives, some thought it was too much. They said it was too dramatic and too long. A few even said it sounded too cheesy. They felt it might make the movie feel less severe. Director Roland Emmerich and producer Dean Devlin fought to keep the scene. They believed it was the heart of the whole film. It gave the characters a reason to fight and gave the audience something to believe in. To them, it was not just a speech. It was the emotional turning point of the entire movie. The audience loved it. People clapped in theaters when they heard it. Once the studio saw the reaction, they changed their minds and left it in. That speech helped turn Independence Day from just another action film into something people would never forget. What was almost thrown away became the voice of the entire movie. 20. The script that was written in 4 weeks. You may find it hard to believe, but the script for Independence Day, one of the biggest science fiction movies of the 90s, was written in only 4 weeks, just 1 month from start to finish. Most movies take several months or even years to write, but this one moved fast. Director Roland Emmerich and producer Dean Devlin had just finished working on Stargate. While doing press interviews for that film, a reporter asked them if they believed in aliens. That question sparked an idea. Right after that, they started talking about what would happen if aliens didn't come in peace. What if they came to destroy? They stayed up late and even worked long hours to get the story down. The idea was simple. They wanted to tell an inspiring sci-fi story about people from all over the world coming together to fight against aliens who came to destroy their entire race and civilization. Even though it was written quickly, the story worked.
AI voice isn't doing very good, is it?
It had humor, drama, and big moments. Some parts were even changed or improved during filming, which proves that good ideas can come quickly if the team is fully invested in them. These strange facts show us that the making of Independence Day was just as wild as the movie itself, and it wouldn't have been possible if not that both the crew and the cast were dedicated to the making of the film. Which fact was your favorite and
All right,
why?
guys.
Let-
What do you think? Did you learn anything new here today? I learned a couple things. I liked the movie. I watched it. So I'm gonna start doing some of these movies that I've watched because I like watching them. Anyways, thanks for coming. Thanks for watching. We'll see you back maybe tomorrow, maybe tonight. Who knows? Who knows?